Hey, new video. I tried last time and it didn't work out. I just locked myself out of my car, so uh, that's that's fun. But yeah, here in LA now. Uh, it was the move, right? It was just the move. I think that with everything happening, everybody staying inside, everybody acting like I don't know, like life was over. I wanted to go out and do something and really live, right? And it's been like a year coming, right? Planning it out, getting to a point where I feel ready to just head on out. And I mean, here we are, which is pretty great. I'm out here at the beach right now. It's kind of like foggy. Let's see. First video I took was while it was sunny. It was way nicer, but you know, as it goes. Um, so yeah, it's been an eventful couple of. It's been like almost a week now. Or actually, no, today marks the week. This is the week, right? 7 days. 7 days out here trying to figure out life. So, it's been fun. First day I came out, I walked the whole line out over here. Uh, I got a psychic reading because I hadn't gotten a reading. Actually, I think that was the first like a real personal reading I ever actually got. She confirmed everything that I've been seeing for months, which was awesome. And she also told me I should get some headshots and try to be an actor on top of just pursuing music over here. So that was cool. And I told her, you know, that sounds fun too. So sure, I went and did that. I think a couple days later. It's been wild. I was after that day. I expected for her to give me some sort of clue as to where the heck I was supposed to stay or what job I was supposed to do. Just because I'm still here in my car, right? And I was like, oh, what am I supposed to do out here? Uh, but she didn't really give me that. So then that second day, I got a little lost. I lost a little faith. I was like, oh man, what am I gonna do? Spirit took care of me though. It sent me up a mountain because I think I just went to go see Hollywood. And so I went that way, right? And I ended up just driving through town, and it led me up to like Burbank, and up to like a golf course and like a wildlife range, right, where I saw a mountain, and I was like, okay, cool. That sounds really fun, you know. I haven't climbed a mountain in forever. Let's do it. I thought it was just one little hill, right? Because obviously in Illinois, there's nothing like that. It's just flat land, and if you do climb up something, it's like, you know, you get to the top and that's it, right? No, you know, it didn't do that. But hold on, I got there expecting that. I was like, okay, cool. I'll take my guitar up there and practice a little bit. So I take my guitar, I take my sling pack with just like a bottle of water and like two fruit snacks, because I was like, oh, you know, it won't be so bad. I'll eat a little snack at the top, come back down, it'll be fine. It was fine, you know. It was a nice little climb. I thought, you know, going up, I was like, this is easy. I can't believe it. You know, I was thinking, I'm like, huh, I wonder what happens if somebody climbs a mountain every single day. You know, like what does that do for the psyche? I get up to the top, right? There's a cool little bench, and I see it. And I'm like, oh, this is fantastic. But as soon as I pass the clearing, I see that this is like one of four or no, five different mountains that are out there that are all on the same trail, and the highest one is at, you know, like the fifth mountain up the top. And at that point, you know, it just became something entirely different. And I didn't want to go back down. I didn't want to restart. I probably should have because I did not. Man, I got there, but I was exhausted. And I ate my fruit snacks and I drank like the third of my water I had left because I had chugged a bunch of it on the way up there. And then I came back down. And I mean, on the way back down, it was so bad. But that was the adventure on the second day. Third day, I don't think I did much third day. Third day, I tried to do conventional stuff like finding a job. I think I got the headshots on that day. Fourth day, I think I went on another trail and I climbed another set of mountains because I found it. I also found this cool little art center. That was fun. I didn't get to go inside. It was all closed because of Corona, but like the area was just beautiful. It was a small little park in Glendale. It's called Brand Park, I think. But it was really nice. Fifth day. Fifth day, I got. Wait, yeah. Fifth day was pretty wild actually. I came here to the beach. And I met a good friend. His name's Evan. He's cool. He plays the ukulele. He's like, "You want to jam?" I've been coming out here every single day, just, you know, doing something at least, going to the mountains or going on a trail, coming to the beach. I mean, if it's here, that's the whole point. To be out here and like, even if I am just living in my car, it's so nice to just be here by the sea with stuff to see. It's just nice. It's a nice vibe. But I came out here, played my guitar, met the cool friend. He was like, yeah, let's jam. And so we jammed for a bit. He's cool as can be, honestly. And I think that he said he might rent me out a living space too, because he's got an apartment with a roommate. He said he might rent me out the living room, which would be dope. Because at this point, I'm thinking he could be a band member. And I mean, he talks about it too. He drops it low key, right? He doesn't say like he's like, oh, let's be a band. I think he's just trying to go about it the right way, where you're actually just friends with people and you make music, which makes sense. Yeah, he's cool as can be. So I'm like, this is dope. Yeah, I met that guy that day. I might have actually met him on the fourth day, either the fourth day or the fifth day, right? And then on this fifth day, I know that I did this, right? Which was it was a really wacky day. I got scammed. That was pretty fun. Well, because I came out here, right, just following God, trying to figure out, what I'm doing. Well, find my happiness, let Him guide me, right? And so this old Japanese man comes up to me at the gas station. For like the first couple of days while I was over here, I was staying over at a pilot gas station that's over. It was like 30 minutes out of Los Angeles, so something pretty far, right? And I just drive back every day, but I could shower over there. I'd pay the $15. It's still over there if I need to, but there's also different options too. So. Yeah, I came from over there. The gas station at the pilot was like closed off for some reason that day, so I went over to the next station, and while I was getting gas, this old Japanese man, he's not that old, he was like in his 50s, 60s maybe, I don't know, but he comes up to me and he's like, listen, I'm a doctor. I just came back from doing an operation and delivering 3 babies for a lady. I was on call from San Diego, and I came here through the night, and I've been awake all night, and it was not a big deal, but my car got broken into while I was over there, and somebody stole my phone, my wallet, my keys, everything, and I was like, oh shoot, man, that's so rough. And he tells me, he's like, hey man, could you give me like $100 or $150 for gas? I promise you, if you give me this 150, I'll give you like 1,000 back. And like, I'm a doctor, dude. Don't worry about it. I got you. And earlier this morning, you gotta understand, all right? Earlier this morning, I was feeling so good. I was like, damn, dude, I'm out here. Things have been going well. I think I actually got a call back from a job that I had applied to. So I was like, man, God's good. I'm like, I'm feeling really good. How do I give back? I literally said, I said it out loud. I was like, man, how do I give back? And then this guy pops up, right? And so I'm thinking, oh, okay, you know what? God, you give me a cool little place to help out a needy doctor, or doctor in need, right? And I even get a reward at the end of it, right? So I'm like, sure, I'll help you out. And then we get to talking a lot more. He says he's like on the board of like UCLA or some college over here with like the Trojans or something. I don't know, man. And he's telling me, he's like, hey, if you want, you can come to school here if you want. I'm on the board. I can get you admission right away. And I was like, whoa, that's kind of wild. But he was telling me all sorts of things. He was telling me that he was going to give me a bunch more money too, and that like, hey, if it wasn't too much trouble, could I get 250 instead? And I was like, hey, sure. At this point, I'm sold, right? Because I'd had that conversation with myself, right, in the morning, and this guy popped up, so it made sense. So I was like, shoot, you know what? No worries. So I go to the ATM machine. It only takes 20, so I ended up giving him 260. Guy's like, thank you so much. I give him my name, my number, and an email on like a notepad. And then here's where it gets sketch, right? Because like throughout the whole deal, right? Like obviously anybody hearing this is like, what the hell? Why would you ever do that? That's obviously a scam. But in my mind, right, it was all part of that ideal, or not ideal, yeah, honestly, that ideal scenario that like had just popped up because I'd asked for it, essentially, right? A way to give back, and then just as a plus, I would get a reward, I guess, right? Maybe that's the too good to be true part that I should have been more attentive to. But yeah, I was like, hey, yeah, here's the 250, and he says, okay, this nurse over here in her car is gonna take me back to my car. And I was like, wait, right? But I wasn't trying to feel that way because of the law of attraction and like all those things about how you're not supposed to feel certain. It seemed right. It seemed like I'd asked for it, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna trust. I've been working on my trust too, because I've been losing faith a bunch while I was out here. So I was like, especially like with the whole mountain climbing adventure, I was like, all right, I'm gonna keep faith here. Like I believe, Yeah, he goes into this car, drives off, never see him again. No, never see him again. And then I can't, that's cool, whatever. At the end of the day, in the back of my mind, from the beginning, I was like, you know what? I'll give this man this money, and like, if he really needs it, he needs it. I probably shouldn't. Obviously, I shouldn't have given him the money because that was like the last 300 of my like. I had like 320 maybe dollars in my bank account, right? So I gave him the 250, and I was left with like 50 bucks, right? So I come out here to the beach again, and I ended up meeting a cool guy. He was pretty cool. Uh, he just came up to me. He was like, "Hey man, you want some weed?" And I was like, "Oh, well, not right now, thanks." I haven't been trying to get messed up like that. And he was like, "Oh, you're telling me that you're because I had my guitar out there." And he's like, "You're telling me you're a musician? You're not trying to get inspired out here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but not really. I'm trying. I've had my fun, right? Like that's what I did all in college, and I did it too much. And I'm like, at this point, I feel pretty gassed on it. I don't really care for all the recreational stuff, right? So he's like, "Oh, you want a beer or something? You want to get a water?" And like, I'm like, "Oh man, I'm cool. Like, I don't really need it or anything." He's like, "You don't. It's not about needing it." This will all make sense more as I get to the end, right? But like, yeah, he just keeps talking me up, and I'm just thinking it's just some like guy selling, because like you gotta understand on this beach, man, everybody's selling some sort of. You get talked to like at least twice a day by somebody going, "Hey, you want some weed or you want something else?" Right? Whatever. Cool. Talk to this guy. He needs any. I ended up telling him, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, I don't need any of that stuff to have fun or to like be fun. Because he's like, how are you gonna connect with people if you're not having any of the fun that they're having? And I'm like, man, I'm pretty chill anyway. I'm having a good time just talking here with you. Shooting the shit. And he's like, yeah. And like at that point, we ended up becoming like sort of friends, right? I say sort of because I don't. It got tweaked towards the end, but uh, we're cool. We're hanging out. Uh, and then he tells me, he's like, hey man, well, he started asking like really sus questions. You gotta understand, I just got scammed in the morning. I just got scammed. So he's like, he keeps asking me like really crazy questions. Like he'll be like, oh, where's your car at? And he's like, point out your car. After like he was talking about going and getting a water and like taking a walk, right? And then like he kept pointing at my laptop and he's like, oh, what year's that laptop? And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like it's like that's why I'm like, shoot. Like I felt I should have kept trusting, right? I think that was my test of faith there in that day. It was like I was supposed to keep trusting, even though it hadn't gone that. It felt like I was. Yeah, honestly, I didn't know. The doctor said that he'd call me later, so it honestly hadn't. I think it had passed the time that he was supposed to call me, but either way, I was just really sketched out. So, he's asking me all these things, but he did seem really cool. He seemed like he was very spiritually in tune. Like he randomly out of nowhere was like, "Oh, so you're gonna do the driving thing, the whole driving app thing?" And I'd talked with the photographer about jobs, and he was like, "Oh, you should just do Uber Eats or like groceries or whatever." And I was like, "Oh, yeah. I mean, that sounds like a good idea, I guess." Uh, and so he just brought that up out of nowhere and was just like, "Oh, are you gonna do that?" And I was like, "Whoa, how'd you know I was gonna do that?" And he's like, "Dude, I know everything." And I was like, "This madman." Honestly, who knows? Maybe maybe that connection, because you know what, the tarot reader had sent me to that photographer, and so maybe that photographer had sent that guy. But anyway, he was over there hanging out. He's like, "Hey, let's go get a water. Let's go get something to drink." He's like, "Hey, have you eaten?" I didn't pick up on this stuff. This is the stuff I should have picked up on, right? Because he's like, "You haven't had anything to eat." He's like, randomly asked me earlier if I liked Indian food. So I think this man was trying to like actually like hang out and get to know me. And then we go and walk, right? Because initially I'm like, sure, let's do it. But like I was still feeling a little sketched out because he'd made me point out my car, and I was like, oh shoot, like, is this another thing? Is this guy gonna like go and like take my car or some shit? I wasn't trying to have two bad things happen the same day, right? So should have kept faith, but we started walking, and I'm like, dude, you know what? I'm just trying to hang out by my car and play this guitar. And so he was like, what the hell? Because I'd sat there telling him about like my adventures, everything I told you up till this point, right? Like here in LA, and he couldn't believe that I'd done this thing with the Japanese guy, and then I wouldn't just go get a water with him. And like I think he could tell that there was something up with me, but I wasn't saying, because I didn't want to say like to this guy. At this point, I still didn't know who he was. I thought he was just a random weak guy, right? And I didn't want to like say like, hey man, I'm worried that you're gonna steal my car or some shit, or try to rob me. It's like that's such a mean thing to do. And I was like, sorry. You could tell I'm nervous, man. I'm out here voice cracking and shit. But like that was the vibe, man. I was not feeling it. But he was super cool. He was nice. He was calling me nephew and shit. He was cool as fuck. Unfortunate He even said in the beginning, man, I think that was a spiritually guided message too. He was like, we met at the wrong time, because while I was telling him about this distrustful thing with the Japanese man and all this other stuff. So, yeah, came back here. I pulled out my guitar, and I was just talking to him because I wasn't trying to like play and talk with, I'm not trying to like drown out the conversation because he was cool, man. I thought we were just making a friend, and that's where I think I went wrong. He casually drops that he just came back from the studio, so like this guy was like maybe a talent scout of some sorts, working with the studio, doing something like that, right? I've come to understand, right? But like he said so, I thought he was just a cool soul, you know. I'm just out here trying to meet people, so I was like, oh, this guy's a producer. That's cool as hell, you know. I'm like, tell me about it. And I had my guitar in my hands, but I was just talking to him, and so I think this man was waiting for me to like impress him, right? And that's just not how I am, you know. Like I'm not out here to impress anybody. That's not how I am. So maybe it was just a bad connection. But this, it did kind of suck because that realization came as he's like, dude, he couldn't he was in disbelief, right? Like I wouldn't go have this water with him. He's like, you don't know where that could have led to, you know. I wouldn't play this guitar, but just because we were talking, right? And he was getting frustrated at that point. So then like I was just trying to talk him down, right? Like, oh man, what's going on, you know? Just, instead of playing the guitar, like he wasn't saying any of this stuff either. Is the problem is that he wasn't saying, he wouldn't tell me about how he was a producer until like we were sat down there after all this had happened at this point, right? Like these are things that I didn't know, and he tells me, he's like, see how you block your blessings, see how you don't take things, like Moses is right here in front of you and you won't even do anything. Yeah, it was wild. It was wild. Unfortunate connection lost. But yeah, he walked off. He told me he'd worked with like Dre and like Snoop, and I was like, oh shoot. So like that could have been something, but I felt bad. I still didn't entirely understand because like at this point I'm like, is he even? Everything didn't feel real to me right at that point. Like he said that and like it didn't feel real. I was like, oh, is he even being real? Like, is he just messing with? Because he was a smooth talker, you know, and he was over here like trying to sell weed. So I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know who you are. I don't know what's going on, you know, like. So it just didn't seem all that it should have been, right? I guess I don't know. Maybe it wasn't meant to be. But either way, that happened. That was crazy. He walks off and he's like, I was like, oh man, I'm sorry. Like I'm sorry if I upset you or anything. I hope to see you around, dude. I told him my name, right, and he didn't tell me his name. He's like, I don't give out my name like that. I don't know, man. LA's a different animal. That was crazy, but yeah, he had a bike, so he rides off, and I'm like, oh man, I hope to see you around. And he's like, probably not. And he like just leaves. I'm like, oh shoot. Well, damn. Yeah, but I mean, he's a chill dude. He was pretty cool at the end of the day. I do hope I see him around. It'd be pretty cool. I'd explain to him why I was being all weird, because I wasn't explaining that either. So I feel like he could feel that weirdness off of me, like why I wasn't like just going and like hanging. But like, yeah, I mean, I told him the story about how I literally just got messed up that day. But for him, it was more like, man, you're that gullible and you wouldn't just come walk away this way too. It's like, I don't know. But yeah, it wasn't all bad that day. I also ended up meeting a cool guy from New York that was hanging out here. His name is Casey. He was cool. He's a chill guy. And apparently he like trains like athletes and stuff too, like in New York. And he had basically a pretty similar story to like what I'm doing out here, but like with this training adventure out in New York. And he's super cool guy. Super cool guy. I think he's part of my soul tribe or something. Very cool. But yeah, that was fun. So it wasn't all bad. He came with like a whole collective, man. Like he had like a photographer like taking photographs. I ended up meeting some rapper. I didn't actually we walked and he said hi to him as they were walking past because he's part of the group, right? But like then me and him just kept walking. He was like, oh, that was a rapper. And I'm like, oh shoot, well I should have linked up, but at the end of the day it was all good. But yeah, it was cool to meet that guy. I hope he's doing okay. In case you ever sees this dude, word up, man. I hope you're doing all right back there. Come back to LA soon, man. And yeah, that was fun. Yesterday I just practiced my guitar actually in a park. I think it was more just like a restful day because that night I felt real bad about it, right? I was like, damn, I missed that connection. Like that could have really been something, right? As I started realizing like what had actually happened. But I've been watching some readings before too, and they said that something was gonna happen that wasn't in divine timing, and I'm just hoping it's that, right? Something better's supposed to come along, so we'll see. But yeah, next day I was just sort of recovering. Spirit was sending me a lot of strength, I guess, that day. And I was feeling really good. I ended up driving around like just all over LA, just driving, feeling my crown, feeling third eye, right, and just driving, feeling good. Uh, if I'm honest, I felt like I was talking to like in the astral to this girl that I really like, right? But she's like just a Twitter girl that never answers anything, so I'll leave that alone. But yeah, it was it was a fun day. That was just a weird faith walking day. And here we are on day 7. Made it to the beach again. Uh, I actually just went and got some new strings for my guitar, some thinner ones, because getting used to playing electric has killed me on the acoustic, right? Playing on the acoustic with the thick strings I can't bar on the top frets, shit's rough. So yeah, I got some thin strings, hoping that's gonna change it all up. Uh, and I also ended up getting a ukulele because I saw it. I've been wanting a ukulele, man, to just like lay down in bed and like play with it. I think that'd be, because now I can play that in the car, you know, even still, like just laying out, practicing chords and melodies and all the things. So got that ukulele. So I kind of had a splurge day, right? Like I ended up getting like the nice coated strings. I ended up getting that ukulele. It was cool. I came back over here to the beach when slight disaster struck. I over here locked myself out the car. Unfortunate, unfortunate, but shoot, you know. I called the locked place. They should be coming soon. It's been a minute, man. I've been talking to you guys for 21:40 here, and they have not come. I waited like a good 10 minutes right to start this video. I might have to call back, but yeah, it's been an adventure. Honestly, man, go live your dreams. I think that I'm feeling better out here, even sleeping in this cramped ass car. I sleep in this one little seat, right? I don't know if you guys can see that clearly, but like the car is packed, and so I sleep in the driver's seat. I sleep in that driver's seat, backwards, just like weirdly mixed up and crossed up, and man, it's been messing up my back a little bit. But shoot, you know what? Whenever I get up in the morning, I get to come out here or go hike or go do something. That makes it all worth it. The cool people I've been meeting too, like wow, man, LA's a different animal. I love it. I feel great. Glad to be in the city of angels, but I hope that's inspiration for you guys to go do something that you love. You know, especially if you're watching this from my hometown, man. If you're in Leroy, and like I see a lot of you, a lot of people in my class are actually